I was born and reborn 20 times, an Abiku who refused to stay. The earthly world had nothing to offer me, or so I thought, until Adewale, the love of my life and an Abiku himself, took a journey to the world, and never returned. Abiku is a term in the Yoruba language of Nigeria that refers to a spirit child believed to be born and reborn repeatedly to the same mother. These children are thought to be destined to die young, causing repeated grief and sorrow for their parents, who love them dearly despite the inevitable heartache. But there is much more to the existence of an Abiku than simply the cycle of birth and premature death. Depending on one's rank and status within the vast and mysterious realm of the Abiku, one might choose to be born to different mothers or even to different families across various lifetimes. That's how high I was in the spiritual hierarchy of the Abiku, so powerful that I could select to whom and where I would be born, weaving in and out of mortal lives as I pleased. In the realm of the Abiku, our lives extend far beyond the earthly experiences. Our world is teeming with beings like me, each with its own complex existence. We are not mere spirits flitting between life and death, we have relationships, families, and emotions that mirror those of the humans we so often leave behind. We love deeply and passionately, and our bonds are unbreakable, formed over countless lifetimes. One might wonder why we choose to leave the earthly realm so quickly after being born. The truth is, many of us are drawn back to our world by a love so profound that the earthly ties of family and life pale in comparison. In our realm, there is someone special waiting for us, someone we long to return to, a lover, a soulmate, whose absence makes the earth feel like a cold and distant place. This love is the force that pulls us back, time and time again. But there is also a darker side to the existence of an Abiku. Among us, power and status are not just granted, they are earned through acts that would chill the hearts of mortals. The ability to live countless life cycles and overturn the good in lives of those who love us is a measure of one's strength and influence. To disrupt the peace of a home, to erase fortunes, the successes of businesses, and destinies, is to ascend in rank within our realm. These deeds are what endow us with power and privileges, allowing us to rise to greater heights. I share this power and privilege with the love of my life, and his name is Adewale. Together, we are bound by a love that transcends the earthly plane, a love that is both our greatest strength and our deepest vulnerability. It is this love that has guided my actions across lifetimes, and it is this love that continues to define my existence, both in the spiritual realm and in the fleeting moments I spend on earth. In the spiritual realm, Adewale and I were inseparable, our bond forged over countless lifetimes. We danced through the realms, laughing at the mortals who tried in vain to hold on to us. Their rituals and prayers meant nothing, we were free, untethered by the chains of the earthly world. Together, we ruled our domain, where riches, power, and eternal love were ours to command. But one day, Adewale grew restless. He spoke of the earthly realm with a curiosity that unnerved me. "I want to see what it's like to be mortal," he said one day, his eyes gleaming with excitement. "To feel the weight of flesh, to experience life as they do." I dismissed his words as a passing fancy, convinced he would return to me as he always did. But then he left, and never came back. Days turned into weeks, and I began to feel something unfamiliar, fear. Adewale had never stayed away this long. What could the earthly world offer that our realm could not? Driven by desperation, I chose to follow him. I selected a wealthy family, one that would shower me with love and comfort, hoping it would draw Adewale back to me. The transition from spirit to flesh was jarring, but I was determined. I had to find him, to bring him back to where he belonged, with me. When I was born, I felt the heaviness of life, the pull of the earth. It was nothing like the freedom of our realm. But I pushed through, convinced that once I found Adewale, we would return together. At first, I saw him in my dreams, always just out of reach, his voice calling to me from the shadows. "Stay," he whispered. "Stay and feel what I feel." But then, the dreams changed. Adewale began to drift further away, and I noticed another figure beside him, a girl. Her presence grew stronger in my dreams until one night, I saw them together, her head resting on his shoulder, his hand gently stroking her hair. Rage boiled within me. Adewale was mine. We were bound together, our love eternal. How could he forget that? I sought him out, confronting him in the shadows of the night. Who is she? I demanded, my voice shaking with anger. Adewale turned to me, his eyes cold, his face devoid of the warmth I once knew. Her name is Adeswa, he said simply. I love her. His words struck me like a blow. You can't love her. I cried, my heart breaking. You belong to me. But Adewale merely shook his head. Not anymore. The earth has changed me. I found something here that I never knew in our world. I couldn't accept it. I refused to accept it. How could he love someone else? We were meant to be together, in life and beyond. My anger consumed me, and I resolved that if I couldn't have Adewale, then no one would. I began to haunt Adeswa, appearing to her in the dead of night, whispering in her ear, trying to drive her mad with fear. I would make her leave, make her see that she was not meant to be with him. But Adeswa was strong, stronger than I expected. She clung to Adewale, and he to her, their love growing despite my attempts to tear them apart. In my frustration, I took more drastic measures. One night, as she walked alone through the forest, I conjured a storm, the wind howling, the trees bending to my will. Adeswa stumbled, her face pale with fear, but she did not fall. She stood her ground, defying me, her love for Adewale giving her strength. Adewale appeared then, rushing to her side, his arms wrapping protectively around her. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and sorrow. It's over, he said quietly. Let me go. The weight of his words crushed me. I realized then that I had lost him, not to the girl, but to the earth itself. Adewale was no longer the spirit I had known. He had become something else, something I could not reach. Heartbroken, I retreated, withdrawing into the shadows. The earthly realm had taken him from me, and there was nothing I could do to bring him back. I wandered aimlessly, torn between the urge to return to our realm and the pull of the earth that now anchored me. The connection to the spirit world was fading, leaving me stranded in a world I had always despised. But then, something unexpected happened. As I sat by the river one evening, lost in my sorrow, a young man approached. His presence was like a warm breeze, soothing my troubled spirit. His name was Femi, and from the moment our eyes met, I felt something shift inside me. It was not the overwhelming passion I had felt for Adewale, but a gentle, comforting warmth that eased my pain. Femi spoke to me with a kindness that I had never known from a mortal. He listened to my stories, shared his own, and slowly, the grip of the spirit world began to loosen. I found myself drawn to him, not by the ancient ties of the Abiku, but by something new, something purely human. As the days passed, I began to see the earthly realm in a different light. It was not just a place of suffering and sorrow, but a world filled with possibilities, with love and life that I had never allowed myself to experience. Femi showed me that there was beauty here, that the earth had much to offer if I only allowed myself to see it. One night, as we sat by the river, Femi took my hand in his touch gentle and warm. Stay with me, he said softly. There's so much more to see, to feel. I looked into his eyes, and for the first time, I felt a sense of peace. The pain of losing Adewale still lingered, but it no longer consumed me. I realized that I could stay, that I could live a life here, with Femi, experiencing the world as he did. The pull of the spirit realm faded into the background, a distant memory of a life that no longer held me. I had found something new, something real. And as I leaned into Femi's embrace, I knew that my journey was just beginning. I stayed, not because I was bound, but because I chose to. The earth, with all its flaws and beauty, had become my home. And I was ready to live, to love, and to experience all it had to offer.
Follow this page or subscribe to this channel for more stories.